seconds to introduce them. This is Karen. She has her bachelor's degree in physical education. She actually went to the University of Dayton, and she also has 60 plus hours post-grad hours. She's a certified licensed PE teacher and personal trainer. She's managed health clubs, worked at weight reduction camps, coached field hockey, taught PE, and she now works for Kettering Health Network as an exercise physiologist for almost 7 years now. And then this is Kristen. She has a Bachelor of Science in Medical Dietetics from the College of Medicine of the Ohio State University, and she's been practicing for over 30 years now. She's a registered and licensed dietitian. She's worked in hospital ICUs, health promotion, fitness club training, private practice, nutrition counseling, and for the last 15 years she's worked with Kettering Health Network, where she has developed and provided nutrition counseling and education services while working with home health care. And they're here today, and I'm really excited to welcome them because I think it's going to be great. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. We're really happy to be here. Kristen and I get very excited to talk about this stuff. So there's a lot of new information coming out about diabetes and exercise. And so we're very happy to be able to share that with you today. Has anyone read anything about exercise and diabetes? Yes. What have you read?
I was just diagnosed in April with diabetes, so I've gone through the nutrition training, and they had a small component of it talked about the exercise, and so not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Okay. All right. Is anyone currently exercising? Okay. Great. Is anyone getting about 5 hours a week of exercise? Awesome. Awesome. Are you getting 2.5 hours of exercise? All right. Minimal to get off the list for coronary artery risk is 2.5 hours. But I don't think anyone, if you cannot be minimal and be optimal, 5 hours is what you should be getting. 5 hours. So a brisk walk at lunch, 20 minutes, boom, there's 20 minutes. 20 minutes after dinner, you got 40 minutes for the day. So that kind of is very helpful, especially with diabetes. So we're going to go through this real quick. And I do encourage you to ask questions. Don't wait till the end. Ask it while it's fresh in your mind. And we'll tag team if it's something very specific to diabetics. She'll hit that, and if it's more to exercise, I'll take care of that. So we're going to learn how exercise plays a huge role in managing and preventing diabetes. And we'll see the most effective ways to exercise to help you get the best results with your diabetes. And that's what I find the most interesting. I'm not going to tell you just to go out there and walk. There's very specific things that you can do to get better numbers. So that's what we're going to work on today. So lifestyle improvements can help prevent and or control type 2 diabetes. Have you heard that before? Okay. And lifestyle can better control type 1 and 2 without the need for extra insulin. So usually when you start exercising regularly, you can lower the medications that you take because you have more cell activity, and it's forcing the glucose into the cells. So you should lower your insulin. And so that is a savings for you, financial as well as health. Physical activity enhances the action of insulin, be it naturally released by the pancreas or supplemental. So these are good things. Almost all physical activity has a positive effect on insulin action. And does everyone here understand how diabetes works? We need to go through that real quick because we can. I think maybe we should. But this is new, came out in 2007. It's huge. Compared to dietary interventions, so watching a strict diet and or medications, being active by itself has the greatest benefit on glycemic control and is more effective than attempting a combination of lifestyle improvements that also include exercise. So if you're doing diet, medication, and exercise, that's good. But the number uno would be being active. Because when you're sitting down, your cells aren't moving that much. But when you're moving, you're activating all the cells. When you activate the cells, you're creating energy, and that forces glucose into the cells, and that's what you're having problems with. And I think you're going to go over that a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll kind of wind into some of those areas.
So really,
Those of you who have specific questions about things like that. I'm not sure everyone is involved with diabetes directly, or whether, you know, this is an interest area, but some people will disclose more than others, and that's your prerogative, so we'll get that.
yeah, we'll give you a basic outline real quick. So food is energy, right? Food is energy. You need food to live. So when you ingest food, especially carbohydrates, it's broken down into the system as glucose, which is a blood sugar, which is what you need for energy. That provides you with the power. So when you have glucose in your digestive system and it's coming down, the pancreas secretes, well, the hormone, and it secretes.
It's involved, but yeah.
Yeah, you secrete insulin. It's a hormone. And it helps get the glucose into the cells. So if you're not producing much insulin, or if it's sluggish, you may have to supplement with some insulin or some other medication to do that. And if the glucose is not going into the cells, then it makes you lethargic because you're not getting any power. All right? You're not getting the energy into the cells that you need it. So you can see where activity would kind of force that to happen. All right? Also, if you're not producing insulin or the insulin's not working correctly, it's not pushing the glucose into the cells, then in your bloodstream, you have too much glucose. And that is not a good thing, because then doesn't that up your fatty?
All kinds of damage and so forth, yeah.
Yeah.
Your cells singularly are really the important thing to remember. You can't feel it, but they are being damaged every time the blood sugar is higher in a very cellular, very quiet way initially, and then it becomes more pronounced. So.
Yeah. So you cause problems if you are not having that under control all throughout your body, not just with your pancreas and your blood vessels, but really all throughout your body. So this is exciting news, though. They just did a big study on young students who were overweight and obese, and they just had them exercise for a week, like 20-minute walk once a day. And it improved in all of them their insulin receptors. So it was forcing the glucose into their cells, and they didn't build any more muscle mass, they didn't lose any weight, but just the activity alone improved the insulin action. So there's a lot of great studies on this that are coming out. Okay, so this is where we're at. Which type of exercise is most effective for controlling diabetes? Who's going to take a stab at this? Because we gave you a little background, and we have a free pen.
Cardiovascular.
She says cardiovascular. Any other? Yeah.
Weight training?
Weight training. Okay. Well, first, let me ask you, why cardiovascular?
Well, because it's blood, and that gets your blood moving.
Okay. Very good. All right. And weight training?
Increased muscle mass,
Mm-hmm.
more need for energy in the body.
Yes. All right. So how many people, let's see, show of hands. Let's take a stab at this. How many people say cardiovascular? 1, 2. How many people say weight training? All right. Well, free pen. Yeah, it is kind of her field of study. She might know something here. Actually, here's a little hint. Decreased muscle mass directly influences the risk of developing glucose intolerance and diabetes, because muscle tissue is the primary site of glucose deposit and utilization. So the glucose is trying to go to your muscles. Your muscles are all your power, okay? Would you grab me that bat in the middle? Sure, back there. All right, so does that give you a hint? So now what would you say? Okay. Well, actually, they are both important. So that's why you guys both got a free pen. But it is a little bit of a trick question, but here's a big point I want to make. I'm over 50. All right? What happens when you are over 50? Something huge happens. And I'm not talking menopause. It's happening to Dwight. Yes. After the age of 50, you lose between 50 and 70 years of age. you lose about a pound of muscle mass a year. Muscle mass is your biggest calorie burner. So if I'm ingesting 1,500 calories a day and I'm not changing my workout and I'm over 50, guess what? I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to gain it right here. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. Okay? So over 50, from the ages of 50 to 70, hey, this is your friend. And you better make it your friend or you're going to end up with some problems. Aerobic exercise, that's always important. The heart is a muscle, you got to keep that. And like you said, they've done studies, strength training versus cardiovascular with those with diabetes, and they both have good results. But the best results, are a combination of the two. If you only have 20 minutes, pick one. If you're doing 5 hours a week, I would do 2 hours of this, 3 of this. If you have 2.5 hours a week, I would divide it up. I would divide it up equally, especially if you're over the age of 50. If you're 25, your body's at its physical peak. You're in with the liver, so let me see here. Because if you're carrying your fat there, it releases free fatty acids right into your liver, and this has a problem on your insulin. So visceral fat releases free fatty acids, and these directly enter the liver and have a detrimental effect on insulin action. So a loss of visceral fat has the greatest benefit. So it's something you want to pay attention to. So I notice there's mostly women in here. Your waist circumference should be under 35. Now, if you're 5'2" or 5'3", it should be lower than that because you're just more petite, okay? Does that make sense? So if you're 5'9", 6 foot, yeah, 35 and under might be good. But I would take it lower. I recommend like under 30, try and keep it under. Now, here's the thing with the waist. The waist isn't here. This is the abdomen. The waist is where it goes in on your body. So look in a mirror, and you can take a tape measure around. It's above your belly button, but it's below your lowest rib. And just really look at yourself in the mirror. You'll see an area that goes in. All right, if you want to know what your measurement is there. So we want to get rid of that belly fat. So individuals that have diabetes respond best to exercises that are predictable. So do people with diabetes already know this though? So you want to do something so that lasts for an hour because you know what you ate beforehand, what you're going to eat after. You can monitor your glucose levels better that way. So you want an exercise that is kind of predictable to start with. Does that make sense? Everyone's looking at me like, it doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? So in other words, on a hot day that's 97 degrees, and my friend asked me to go on a bike ride, and this actually happened, I thought we were just riding for an hour, and we rode for 3 hours, and I almost puked. So that was unpredictable, right? Yeah. And so you have to know what you're getting into, especially controlling your glucose. So intensity, try and work out 50 to 60% of your heart rate, and then gradually increase as you get in better shape. And like I said, it takes 2 weeks for your body to adapt. And so if you say, Karen, I don't know what you're talking about heart rate. Beats per minute. And for your age and for your resting heart rate, there we can figure out what 50 to 60% is, and we can figure out what 60 to 70% is. So the studies are all saying, if you have diabetes, the more intensely you work out, the more it forces glucose into the cells. So that's a slow walk versus a very fast walk, which is going to be better for diabetes. The fast walk. Okay, so how do you walk faster? Take smaller steps and keep the feet under the body and use the arms as little pistons. So we also can time you and see how fast you walk, and we can get you to walk faster. So look, if you have a 20-minute walk and you're walking faster, you're covering more miles in that, more ground in that 20 minutes. So you're burning more calories. So that helps with the fat loss too. So frequency, we're shooting for 5 hours a week. And they say if you have diabetes, do not take more than a 2-day break from exercise. Do not do that. Do not take more than 2 days. So take 1 day off, but they really don't want you to take 2 or more off, is what the studies are supporting. So if you have type 1 diabetes, these are good increments to get started with. And type 2, try and work yourself up to a greater number. So if you're just starting out, you can do a 10-minute walk and work yourself up to 30 to 60 minutes. And if you're overweight, it's really good to start with low-impact exercises. You don't want to start with anything where you're jumping around and hurting the joints or anything like that. And generally speaking, here's a good rule of thumb. The faster you move, the greater your chance of injury. Okay? The faster you move, the greater your chance of injury, especially as you age. All right? So when you lift weights, you want to lift slow and controlled. The faster you move, the more you can hurt your joints and whatnot. So now walking, you want to walk faster though, but generally speaking. All right, always check your blood glucose levels before, during, and after exercise. That way you can see how you respond. So what is my glucose before I exercise? Now I'm going to do my predictable routine that I know takes me 40 minutes. What is my glucose during, and what is it after? So if your blood sugar is 70, is below 70, then take 15 grams of a fast-acting carbohydrate right away, rest for 15 minutes, and test again and see if that didn't bring it up. Because usually it can raise your blood sugar about 30 to 40 milligrams in about this time period. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, so what is a fast-acting carbohydrate? 3 to 4, the BD, glucose tablets, 4 ounces of juice, regular soda. Do you have good suggestions with this, Kristen?
I have one thought though, is use pure carbohydrate. Don't get caught up in, candy bar or any kind of mix that might have some fats and proteins in it. It'll kind of slow things down. So those things, or like even a granola bar, granolas are pretty much carb. Fig Newtons, fruit bars, that type of thing. Those little fruit leathers or, fruit
gummy bears?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you could do that. Because obviously you want it to be non-perishable, you're out and about and so forth. So I have some other suggestions later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So to try and try to exercise at a similar time every day. All right, so here's what the studies support. If you are able to exercise in the morning, it causes your blood sugar to drop less, and you're better able to monitor it. So that's a really good choice. Okay? Afternoon or evening exercise can make your blood sugar drop a little more, but exercise is better than doing nothing. So if you have a choice, and we're just going for optimal here, I'm just giving you all the information, that's your best choice. And then that would be your second best choice. And if you are on insulin or taking pills that work by making more insulin, evening exercise may result in low blood sugar while you sleep. So that's another reason why you want to get it in the earlier you can. And people who have type 1 diabetes should avoid evening exercise if at all you can. But like we're saying, any exercise is better than none. All right, so do not exercise if your blood glucose is greater than 300 or greater than 250 with urinary ketone bodies. And you probably shouldn't exercise very hard if you have these. But we tell the general public this too. If you have a fever, you should not be exercising. A chest cold, you shouldn't be exercising. A sore throat, you shouldn't be exercising. But if you just have a head cold, you can exercise. But those are some precautions that just put you in a worse state. because exercise has an insulin-like effect, insulin doses should be lowered before exercise, generally speaking, but you need to check with your doctor and develop a plan. And don't inject insulin into the primary muscle group that you'll be using. So you would inject it in your abdomen instead of the thigh, because usually when you're working with weights, you're going to use your thigh muscles. So don't inject it into there. Avoid exercising in hot, humid weather. But you probably already knew that, right?
Okay, we live in Ohio, how are you going to do that? And not suspend exercise for more than 2 days in a row.
You know what's interesting, what the studies show, is once you pass the 1 and 2 week mark, your body gets used to it. So you can exercise at 3 p.m. every day in 97-degree heat, because now your body is acclimatized to it. But you just have to monitor yourself like crazy. Like monitor. Oh, this, if I eat this and do this, this feels good and I'm able to do this. So, yeah. But try to go early in the morning and in the evening during the summer if you can. But if not, like this summer, I ended up exercising mostly at 3 p.m. because that's when I got off work. And it was usually 97 degrees, so yeah. And then always try and wear some type of identification. And then they found that there's 2 schools of thought on this. You can exercise a half an hour to an hour after you have a meal or snack. And that's going to work well with you because you have good energy. And we always recommend that you have some power in your body when you're working out. That's for the general public as well as someone who has diabetes. But they also said, and I found this interesting, after you work out, you have great glucose absorption. So whatever you eat after your workout, make sure it's really healthy and you'll get good absorption with that, because everything is on, everything is exemplified. Avoid alcohol around the time of exercise, even the night before a morning workout, because that will affect your workout. And drink plenty of fluids. Dehydration can raise your blood sugar. And drinking water throughout the day keeps your cells at an even functioning level. Always check with your doctor and let him or her know what type of exercise you're going to do and what you're interested in. So develop a plan. And the benefits of exercise, it lowers your blood sugar levels and helps improve the body's use of insulin. And that's the number one thing it does. So you should actually feel better once you start exercising regularly. It helps decrease your weight and control your weight. It improves your circulation and reduces the risk of heart disease. If you have diabetes, you are at a 2 to 4 times higher risk for heart disease than the general public. So it's going to improve that risk. It will lower your blood pressure, and it helps protect against heart and blood vessel disease by lowering your bad LDL and raising the good HDL, your cholesterol numbers there. It also improves your muscle strength, your bone strength, increase your energy levels. I don't know if anyone wants to enhance their work capacity, but it will do that as well. You may or may not want to do that, I don't know. It reduces stress and promotes relaxation, which releases tension and anxiety, because stress can make blood sugars rise. So, you know, I know a lot of people in here probably walk. Do we have a lot of walkers in here? Yeah. So if you're ever mad or upset and you start out on your walk, don't you always feel better when you come back? I know I do. It's a great stress reducer. So your daily habits can tilt you towards or away from diabetes, and it's never too late to make a positive change. So it's more what you are doing every day that's making the difference than necessarily the pill that you're taking. It's your daily habits. Are there any questions? Does that make sense to everybody? Yes.
So what about the exercise ball? Is that something that would be beneficial, or?
Are you talking about a weighted ball or the
No, the kind you sit on to do.
Yeah. So would you like to sit on it like all day, you mean? Or
No, I'm just saying, so I have a lot of knee and ankle problems, and so it's hard for me to do some of the other things. So I've been using this exercise ball and using the bands.
Yeah, that's a good, I mean, anytime you're sitting on something unstable, all your muscles are contracted to stabilize yourself. So it's good for that. But there's a lot of exercises you can do for your ankles and knees to rehab them. Something as simple as holding onto a table and doing heel raises.
I can't even do that right now.
Okay. Are you in therapy? I mean,
I see an orthopedist.
Yeah.
We're talking surgery. So.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you get exercises from them.
Oh, I do.
Good, to try and help yourself, because there's a lot you can do with flexibility and stuff like that. But yeah, the exercise ball is good. Those muscles are contracted to help you keep your balance.
But how does that equate to like the strength training? So,
I think
because like you're using those bands.
the bands are good, but you're not getting constant tension throughout.
Okay.
So as the band stretches more, that increases the tension more. I personally like weights because it's easy for me to keep track of. Oh, I use 5 pounds, then I can go to 8.
I see.
I just feel like you get, if you're looking for a big bang for your buck, it's very helpful to use the weights because it just enacts so much pressure on your body. Are there any other questions? Yes.
What if you can't get a routine with your workout?
So your schedule's so hip-hop that you can't get the timing right?
Well, I have a 9-month-old who hasn't acclimated to sleeping.
Uh-huh.
So, sometimes we sleep at 9, sometimes we wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes it's 1, 3, and 4 we wake up. So it's very, not routine for me to be, especially morning exercises, because that's the only time I guaranteed him sleeping is between like 5 and 8 every morning, which I usually, and he usually sleeps after 8. I just have to get up and get ready for work. So I tend to not want to do the morning exercises.
That's fine.
And but I have type 1. And you just said that we should avoid working out at night.
But I think if I had a choice between working out and not working out, I would work out at night.
Well, I think it's late at night, too.
Okay.
Like, if you're taking a night dose of insulin, potentially, okay. I mean, that's part of it, too, is where your doses are, where your therapy is. Need to do some extra monitoring and checking and trying it out in the evening, but do a lot more monitoring, as Karen said, before, during, and after to see how it influences, how does it bring it down for you personally, given your meal. Do you have a snack at night, some of those things. But just late hours, like 11 o'clock at night probably.
Or 9. Like, if you work out like 8 to 9 and then you're going to bed at 10, you're not able to monitor yourself as well.
Exactly. So I would try it out and then really not go to sleep, maybe try it on a weekend if that would help, or try some times where you're not at risk and see if you do have any problems with hypoglycemia.
Okay.
And
you're probably keeping things around even more so, possibly.
Yes.
Because there's more possibility for that in your room and so forth, too.
Yeah. Well, they're already making adjustments right now because I hit lows in the middle of the night quite often.
Then you probably don't want to do some exercise right now if you already know that about your son. Hold off until they make some adjustments on your long-acting or whatever. I'm not sure meal time. There's a way to do that. You're going to figure it out. Babies grow.
I'm hopeful.
10 months and you'll move out of that.
I'm very, very hopeful.
That will. It does. It changes.
And then,
so you won't be there all the time.
I also feel like, too, once you get on a regular sleeping pattern, that will improve your blood sugars, too.
Yes, sleep is big.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is huge for everybody, diabetes or not, but definitely, yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for a free pen. These pens are valuable, too, let me tell you. All right. What is, for anybody, general public, what is the best, the most effective time of day to work out?
Early morning.
For your body, not for your convenience, but for your body. What is, I hear one early morning. Anyone else? You probably know, don't you? Anyone else know?
What, is it 8 to 9 in the morning?
No. I will say this, in support of morning exercisers, studies show if you exercise in the morning, you are likely to have more success. because nothing gets in the way of it.
More of a set one.
Mhm. Yeah, so morning exercisers have the most success. You know, someone doesn't call from school or work, you had to stay late or blah, blah, blah. Nothing gets in the way usually. Morning exercisers have the most success. But when's the optimal time for the body to work out? Yes?
Like afternoon, like kind
Yes.
of like the
5 to 6.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best time. You know why? That's usually when your temperature is the highest during the day. Isn't that cool? Is that what you have? Is that what you have, Kendall? Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting too. All right. Any other questions? Yes.
You said that for to reduce the abdominal fat, you should do weight training. Is that just in general, or is that specific to the ab region?
That's a great question. You can just lift weights and not do one sit-up, and you will lose visceral fat in the abdomen section, because the whole thing is calories in, calories out. If you're taking in this many calories and blowing out this many and you're keeping it even, your weight's going to stay the same. But now that you have more muscle mass, you're going to have more calories going out, even if you keep your diet the same. So that will lower your abdomen. But I'm
Also burns more calories.
right, 2 to 3 times more calories. A pound of this burns 2 to 3 times more calories per day than a pound of fat. So yes. So what was your question? Did I answer that?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Now, sit-ups are not the most effective ab strengthener. Okay? Does anyone know what it is? Oh, for a free pen. For a free pen. What are the best exercises for your abdomen?
I heard crunches.
Crunches?
Crunch.
She says crunches. No. So what they do is they put little, they do little pads. Okay, which exercise
Is it walking?
activates these muscles the most?
Is it walking?
No.
resistance.
Resistance? No. Yes.
Planks.
No.
Oh, planks. Those are good.
Planks is up there though.
Those are good.
I think the top 3 were the bicycle. Yuck. Who has ever done the bicycle?
Oh,
Yeah, isn't that the horrid grandmother? Horrid,
Yeah.
and on the high chair is a good one. Now, do y'all know what we mean by planks? Like, I love planks because they work your back. They work your core and your back. And do y'all know what we mean by bicycles?
Yeah, your back.
So really, I'll show you something here. This is kind of interesting, if you can see me or not. But ideally, you should, when you do the bicycle, this is not as good a benefit as this. Because my stomach is under constant contraction. Okay? And then on your plank, always make sure your arms are straight down from your shoulders and your body's in alignment. And so, of course, it's strengthening my back, and then they have you pick up one leg and then the other leg. Meanwhile, you're dying here. And then I have you turn to the side and do all this kind of stuff. But it really strengthens your core. But the cool thing about that is it doesn't hurt your back at all. Because I cracked a vertebrae in my back, so I can't, you know. So sit-ups, the crunches, the traditional crunches are not the most effective for your abdomen. What's the best exercise for your chest? What's the number 1? Oh, that's good.
For your chest.
It's not number 1.
You mean like for the muscles in your chest?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Chest press. Chest press with the bar. Chest press with the bar is number 1. What's the best for this? I got a
That's what I
question.
want to know.
Huh?
The lat pulls?
No.
Dips.
The dip?
Oh, I forgot about the dips.
Dips is in the top 3.
Forgot about dips.
It's in the top 3. So y'all know what a dip is?
Nope.
All right. So a dip, and if you have shoulder problems, this probably isn't going to feel too hot for you. But dips, you place your hands like this, and you come out with your feet like this, and you go down and up, real slow. And then by like 10, your tricep is shaking and saying stop it. So here's a question for you. The little jiggly thing that they sell on TV, does that work?
Jiggle.
The shake weight.
The shake
Yeah,
weight!
see, I knew that one.
Does it work?
Never heard of it.
Oh, you haven't heard of it?
Oh, it's the funniest
It's
infomercial
like
ever.
This. It looks like a little baton.
It's
And you hold
hysterical.
it like this and it shakes.
Yeah, the shake
It's for your
weight.
tricep.
Yeah, it's
Do
hysterical.
you know, Kendall, does it
Yeah,
work?
I've seen that.
Does it work?
Yeah.
I haven't really looked at it that much.
It works! Studies show it works. Because think about it. Have you ever picked it up? It's
No.
kind of heavy.
So you-
And it's shaking, so your muscle has to contract to try and control that. So it's kind of fascinating. But anyway, I don't recommend gimmicks. I wouldn't buy it. Don't buy it. I mean, you can do dips or, you know, tricep press or whatever. But again, you got to use a real heavy weight and you want to go slow and controlled. Right? And if anything hurts while you're lifting weights, just shorten the ankle and see if you can do it that way. Because you still have to contract to lift up. All right? All right, any other questions? That was fun. I hope I helped. I hope I gave you some information that is useful. And then Kristen will
I've got a few things, yeah.
Yeah, real quick here. Sorry about that, Kristen.
No, no.
And so I have a lot of handouts back there about strength, cardiovascular.
Oh, I get, yeah. I'm going through yours. Click it.
Escape.
Just hit escape.
Oh,
You're right there.
okay.
And then, yeah.
Okay. Well, Karen touched on some of these things. I'm going to just transition you away from the exercise a little bit more into diabetes, and then if we have a few moments, which I think is all we have, we can talk about anything that's related to diabetes itself, including the nutrition part. I've got a couple other things, I think, in addition. We already talked about doctors okay, wearing your medical ID, taking water, small carbohydrate snack, make sure you take a form of communication, check the blood sugar. And then I have a couple other thoughts as far as some cautions for any of those that you're dealing with your diabetes. Any eye issues? Be careful with your exercise and some of the things suggested here if you're having any kind of eye situation. Also feet, footwear, proper footwear, making sure if you're having any problems with your feet, any open wounds, any breakdown of skin, any issues. But the worst thing is not having the proper footwear and creating issues with your feet when you have diabetes. So be very careful with that. We see a lot of people where it's just the beginnings of things. That can really accumulate into a big problem. So make sure you're getting the right footwear and equipment. With your hands too, because we know healing is an issue, you know, with diabetes. So I think that's all I have to say.
What do you mean by eye issues?
Well, retinopathy,
Yeah.
if you have retinopathy,
What I mean if you've had cataract surgery.
Well, if it's been in the past and you're all healed and so forth.
Okay.
Sure, oh yeah.
it's more for retinopathy.
Yeah.
So if you, when you lift heavy weights, it increases your blood pressure a little, so that puts pressure on the back of your eye. So if you're already having that problem, it just exaggerates.
And you know, you went to class, I'm sorry I don't know your name, you went to class, there was a big emphasis on all these things, but you got just a little bit on exercise, didn't you? And this-
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's
Wait,
not
you spend a lot of time
intentional,
with.
and most programs, I'm sure you went for hours and listened to a lot of
Oh,
things.
yeah,
but it's
4
a-
weeks for 3
Yeah, and these are
hours.
the things that get kind of overlooked. So if you have more questions on that kind of thing, I would definitely get with maybe someone even one-on-one and come up with a plan, the duration, the predictability, what's going on with my blood sugars, how can I work this out? Everybody works on a meal plan, the food and so forth. This is, as the study shows, is the one single thing that's going to make the difference for you. But I talked to hundreds of people. Well, I'm going to work on that. Well, when? When? You know, because the
January
food and
1st.
and the medication and all that
Yeah.
comes, you know, into focus so much.
Well, and it's
more.
intimidating to go up to the rec plex.
It
You
is
see all these
intimidating.
machines, you know,
Yes.
how to use them.
What do I do? Right, right. So, you know, get your footwear, get that going. Personal, what do you think, Karen? Personal trainers in this, is there any?
Well, there's several options you can do. I like, personally, like, it depends, are you a social exerciser, an individual exerciser? Like, my husband will not go to the gym. He thinks it's the stupidest thing to work out in front of other people, but I'm like, what's looking, like, but I like it. But I would get, if you want to get 2 or 3 of your friends and hire a personal trainer and then
Yeah,
do
for
a
sure.
circuit, that makes it kind of fun. And then you're not by yourself, and then you're
But then
with-
it's not overwhelming and
Yeah, or
crowded.
you could get a
and-
buddy,
Yeah.
you know, and hire a personal trainer. Or I know at the Trent Arena, they take you through and show you the machines, and that's free. That's with your membership.
That's
called-
what?
It's
Kettering.
Kettering.
Oh,
Kettering.
Trent Arena, sorry.
Yeah, some of them will give you a free orientation.
Yeah.
Just show you how to use the machines. They don't put you on the program necessarily.
Just go to the parking lot, you know, at least.
And now, on feet, what about all the exercise shoes that they have out the
Be careful.
gravity things?
No, I mean, I know
What
what
gravity
Skechers was
things?
just,
The
Those are being-
anti-gravity shoes?
They're being sued for
They're
that.
being
You know
sued,
that, right?
yeah.
Huge.
No, I didn't know that.
Skechers is
That
being
is
sued.
so
Yeah.
powerful
Wow.
for your back.
Yeah.
Like, listen, just buy a low-heeled running shoe.
Basic.
You
just
don't
for
want anything
walking,
real
yeah.
stiff, so, yes.
There's actually a lot of really great running stores, running shoe stores in town, and you don't have to be a runner to go in there, like Runners Plus and what's the other one, Up and Running. They actually, if you go in there, they'll actually look at your feet, look at how you walk, and they'll try and put you in a shoe that's good for.
Be careful though, just be careful. I have a friend who's undergoing surgery today because she went into a store and had them tell her, and they tried to correct her pronation, and
She might
she
have
has
had
a knee
issues.
problem. Yeah, and so
going
if
in.
you don't, if you haven't after exercise, just go to someone, but just be careful with all of those kinds of
You
recommendations.
just don't want anything
They should have a
gimmicky.
good background like Kendall and Karen, you know, and I know that you'll always get.
I think a low-heeled running shoe.
That's what
is
you
your best
guys
bet.
should do.
Don't buy
Goes to a walking
anything,
shoe or
don't buy
running shoe?
anything with the coils.
No.
Don't do that. And just buy a low-heeled, good running shoe. Yeah, as opposed to a walking shoe.
And you
Because a
tell them
walking
what you're
shoe-
looking for. You don't want anything that's going to correct anything. You're not, they're not podiatrists, you know. They just need to give you a good shoe, as Kendall said, that is, and not intimidate you into thinking you have to buy some big thing.
A low-heeled running shoe is your best bet, because sometimes they'll make, like the coils, those are too stiff, those are kind of
Yeah.
stiff. And the walking shoes are kind of bulky too, I have found, so.
Yeah, they're not light enough.
Right.
And they don't offer support on the side as much too, so your low-heeled running shoe is going to,
Plus a
do
cross
that.
trainer, like just a good cross trainer.
Yeah, I mean, you'll believe it, spot them, because the other ones have a higher heel, and then you got your walking shoes, tennis shoes. So find something comfortable. But if you're just going to lift weights, you could do a tennis shoe, you know, for tennis, or a court shoe. You can do that too. I find it doesn't have as much support, because as you age, you have little fat pads on your feet, and those shrink up. And so you feel everything. That's why most people wear squishy shoes, you know?
Well, and you have to replace your shoes too.
Yes.
Don't wear them for 5 years.
Every 6 months.
Drag out
months.
your shoes and say, okay, I'm gonna start. This could be really old. Yeah, and you will feel everything. Just a couple more ideas as a car, but I think you pretty much did all of those. Dry fruit's easy to carry around, but make sure you've got something when you go out. I just put this up. I think, and again, I don't know if all of you are working with diabetes for yourselves, but I did want to give you a tool for at risk, and you can pass this on to somebody that you know, who you're concerned about, who may be more in a pre-diabetes situation here. This is before diabetes arrives, and this is a situation that 79 million people are dealing with, and there are over 7,000 people that are not diagnosed, and this would be the first condition in which they would find themselves, where the systems are fraying on the edge. The doctor says you're borderline. You're not quite there. You don't want to get there.
Right.
So,
Actually, if you don't take action.
everything
you
that
will
we're
be
talking about today really applies even more heavily to a lot of people who may be a little apprehensive to grab on to some of the ideas because they've been told that they don't have diabetes yet. Okay. So I'm just going to throw some of these out here. This is online at diabetes.org. You can access it and take that test. And we have websites in the back. I hope you pick up some of those, and phone apps if you're interested in phone applications for smartphones, where you can monitor your exercise and your food intake and your carbs and all that kind of thing. So anybody who's been told they have glucose impairment or intolerance or hypoglycemia or metabolic syndrome, that is the beginnings of this cell vessel thickening and changes that are very silent. They're things you can't feel. You can say you feel good, but you know it may be something beyond that that you're not aware of. So just a couple things here. And I've just given you that alert day, are you at risk? Just pass it on to someone or many people if you want to. Put it out somewhere. Just wanted to go over real quick just the screening and the diagnostic testing that is done. If you go in for your annual checkup, these are the kinds of things that you can ask for. If they're not in your usual lab panel, that they may be drawing just for a physical, but you're either looking for a fasting blood glucose level, which they'll take in your panel, and then there's a glucose tolerance test, and there's what they call the hemoglobin A1C, which is a 2 to 3 month kind of look-see at your blood sugar, okay? And it's an average system. And this has become quite popular and is now being used to determine a lot of the prevention that's going on in the public. So I've given you just the pre-diabetes breakdowns. So anything which is just a single prick to check the blood at the top there, the fasting, anything from 100 to 125 is considered pre-diabetes. The glucose tolerance is a 2-hour test that you would take 75 grams of pure carbohydrate, push it into your system over that 2 hours, and then they would measure your blood sugar for the couple hours as it goes down. So anything 140 to 199 is considered pre-diabetes. And that is, again, a place that if you find yourself, that's to be taken seriously. That's not like wait for diabetes to happen next year, okay? Hemoglobin A1C, the pre-diabetes, Dwight, we were talking about that. If it's 5.7 to 6.4 is considered pre-diabetes. Anything below that is normal. Anything over that is diabetes, okay? All right. And you can't hide from that hemoglobin A1C. Cheaters. Yeah. Let's see that one. Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but like, my A1C results are really good, but it seems like when I'm taking my blood,
Singularly.
they're all over the place. And
Yeah.
some of them are real high. Like one time I took it, it was 200 and something, and I'm like, that can't be right. So I switched fingers, took it in the same finger like 2 minutes later, and it was down by 60 points.
It's your body, and it's our chemistry. It's going all the time, and that's why if you're only checking once a day in the morning,
But I mean, like
yeah,
immediately.
I mean, you can check your meter, make sure that the meter is working properly. There's no errors, there's no problems. I don't know if there could be anything, but literally that there can be some variation among the fingers. There can be, imagine 60 points.
It was 60 points.
I would question that. If it were more like 10 or 20, I'd say, oh, you know.
And I've had it like 10 and 20 before.
10 and 20, that's not, would be unusual. It's like our blood pressure is working every second. You know, there's a lot of vital systems going on. So, but 60 points, that's something real odd. Maybe make sure that the machine is working.
And is that, you do that with the solution stuff? Or
Yeah,
you
you
can
can,
do
right,
the test strips?
right. And make sure your test strips, check all of those kind of background things and see, make sure it's happening. Or call the company if you're really having problems. I don't know if you know, meter is.
I think Kroger meters can probably just go to their pharmacy.
You could, yeah. I would question that a little bit. But it is normal for blood sugars to move around a little bit. You can't nail it down and then expect it to stay. Karen has certainly picked up on this. This is a diabetes prevention program. This is a big study done on people. And it showed that 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week, okay, which is how many hours? Let's see.
2.5.
Yeah, there's that 2.5. And a loss of, on the average, of about 15 pounds. Now, over a week, not over a month, but over a year, okay? So that's very subtle cutting back, very, lifestyle, doable, I'm not hurting myself over it kind of thing. It reduced the risk for type 2 diabetes by over 50% in most people, and especially people over the age of 60. Okay? So I think some of the message here is don't wait. Get something going. Time moves quickly. Babies grow up. People move into categories of time in which it becomes more critical to keep things like your muscle mass and to lose a little weight. You don't have to lose 40 pounds. You just need to get going and see how it feels to change your lifestyle to accomplish that. To get a 50% return on anything anymore, that's pretty good. That's better than the stock market, that's for
Are
sure.
there any studies out there about so I had gestational diabetes as well as my pregnancy.
Yes.
Are there any studies out there about like how many people have that?
50 to 60% of women who have gestational diabetes will develop diabetes itself. But putting in place preventive things can certainly
I
help.
wish that would have been stressful.
I know, because you're just like, okay, I'm just going to do this for a few weeks, because usually they catch you at the end of the pregnancy at
Well,
29, 31
then
weeks.
it goes, quote
It
unquote,
goes away. I feel okay.
And then nobody says anything about it.
We always tell people to keep monitoring, but that doesn't always come across everybody. Yes. Yes.
I had gestational, and then
Yes.
6 weeks later was diagnosed with type 2, and recently I've been diagnosed with type 1.
Okay, so you
So-
developed the insulin lack of over a time period.
Yeah, well, my question is, my doctor keeps going between type 1 and type 2, and calls me type 1.5.
Yes, it's type 1.5.
And,
Sorry about that.
So, my question is there a way, I mean, now that my body, she says I'm still making insulin, just not enough.
Okay, okay.
And, but it's
And
low enough.
it's not maybe consistently being
Yeah.
produced, okay.
So I guess my question is, will exercise maybe help in that aspect as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. If there's some residual, the beta cells in your pancreas still are there and can produce, you want to help them out.
Okay.
So you don't want to stress them out, you don't want to stress the pancreas out. So you want to get every bit of goodness out of that organ, so to speak, then you want to alleviate any of the risk factors that are in your lifestyle to do that.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know what else I have here. Well, and it just comes down to modifying the lifestyle factors. It's screen, know your results. Don't leave an office and you don't know what your blood sugar was, or you don't know what you don't remember. I have people come, I don't know what that is. You need to know what that is so that you can guide yourself. Modify your lifestyle, know the risk factors and symptoms. We have a piece in the back, just hypoglycemia, which can be a risk when you're on insulin and medications. And a lot of people have hypoglycemia that is a prelude to diabetes. They have what we call reactive low blood sugar, meaning you have to eat on time, you need to eat adequate amounts of carbohydrate, you need fiber, you need protein at every meal, you need 3 meals a day with 3 snacks, you need to keep on top of it, you need to take stuff with you when you exercise and do anything above and beyond your usual. So modify your lifestyle factor and practice. You have to practice and you have to practice and you have to practice again. And the practice is going to be what helps your motivation for sure. And all I'm going to say about the nutrition is, and you know this because you have seen enough things. I don't think anybody, unless you've been under a rock, has not seen what's going on with food. Unprocessed, minimally unprocessed, whole foods. If you use that idea, it will take you so far in cleaning up what you're doing. Because everyone knows what the junk is. Everyone knows that the sodas and the extra stuff in between are just making your pancreas run crazy. And that means everybody's. They're predicting by, I think, 2030, I believe, that it could be that 1 in 3 people have diabetes. Well, that's astounding. And that's not because of type 1, the autoimmune, or the virus issues, or some of the other problems. It's pure lifestyle. We are not designed to take in some of the foods that we produce in this lovely capitalistic country. If they can make it, they're going to make it. Should we eat it? I don't know. It's recreational food.
Recreational.
It is. And our bodies are not, we cannot, it's like hooking us up to an IV of, glucose, and we are not designed for that. But we treat ourselves like that sometimes, so. Everyone's at risk, really. Everyone. But good news, the first year, this year, I think it was, that obesity in kids is down, so that's cool. But diabetes keeps climbing. People are reporting those signs more and more now, so. And because of things like this, you're becoming more aware. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming today. We know you have to get back. Are there any other questions that we can take care of? We'll be here for a couple minutes. If you personally have something you want to ask us, I would be glad to, just privately talk to you if you have anything else. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you would fill out the evaluation, and you can just turn it upside down on the table back there. And Do you have any exercise questions for me or?
Yeah, we'll be around
diet
kind of
questions?
clearing up, so that'd be great.